Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. I know the last like 10 days have been a lot. And it looks like there's even more news to cover. So part one, and I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize that it was to this extent. The world's economy is obsessed with, reliant on is the exact word, reliant on free money. It now appears that, remember a couple days ago we had speculation as to why the world's markets dropped. It appears that we have a clear answer. Once again, it was multiple things, but those one things collapsed because of one thing in the middle. It was Japan. They didn't mean to do it. It apparently, as far as we know, was not, part of the grand scheme or plan. The problem was, for those of you who missed it, Japan raised their interest rates. And you might go, well, who cares if they raise their interest rates? Apparently, every single country and every single major company on the planet. The story goes, and this is something that you need to have in context that I think the everyday normal person would not simply get. As far as I'm in money and economics and all these other things every single day, and this one was something that was never even mentioned. Long story short. When Japan raised their interest rates and everything began to collapse is because Japan was seen as the last safe harbor for cheap and or free money. When you as a company are planning on building a building or whatever you might be doing, you take out $100 million loan. If the interest rate is 4, 5, 6, or 7%, it's a huge chunk of change that you're going to have to pay back over the course of multiple years for the loan. Obviously, a lower interest rate is far more attractive to anyone who's trying to take out a loan. You know what's the most attractive interest rate? 0. Japan had a 0% interest rate that apparently a number of countries and corporations and companies around the world were taking loan and debts from. The idea being, if your interest rate is 0, you pay back 0. The problem is that as we saw interest rates rising within the United States, what we, the everyday common person, didn't realize is that all these companies and institutions, remember that the stock market just kept on going up and up and up over the course of multiple years. What happened is these people shifted to Japan, who's had the same policy for roughly around 2 decades, roughly around 20 years of 0% interest rates. They were the last safe harbor where these institutions and countries could take out free debt. The idea that debt would become more expensive, and the craziest part is they only rose it by 0.25%. They didn't raise their interest rate by 2%, 5%, 7%. It was 1/4%, and the markets reacted terribly. The Bank of Japan has recently just announced they said they are not going to have any more rate hikes and they will not have a rate cut because they're terrified of what could potentially happen to the market. Everywhere I look, this seems to be the now once again. We know that inflation is a problem. We know that interest rates are an issue also within the United States. But this small shock sent an earthquake through the entirety of the system. Stocks have still not completely recovered. There were a day and a half of recovery. The news that we're getting now from a number of central banks and a number of I couldn't say the word economists is that we might actually have another few weeks of indecisive market movements because we still have no idea if or when interest rates could potentially lower within the United States. The term economic uncertainty is a drop in the bucket for where we are right now. And it's basically coming down, as I've stated before in other videos, all that the market is waiting for right now is basically for the Federal Reserve of the United States to lower interest rates. The idea being, for those of you who missed the other video, is that if they do lower interest rates, I believe it was JP Morgan and maybe Bloomberg, I'm not exactly sure, who were assuming that the next cuts might not be 0.25%, but actually might be half a point and another half a point before the year is over, which would allegedly lead us to a gigantic market recovery. The problem is, and I have to keep saying that phrase because it's literally like it's sliced up into thousands of pieces. It's not just one thing that's an issue. So even when you hear that the Bank of Japan raising their interest rates was the problem, it's like, no, the entire system is used to getting free money. It's used to getting stuff for free. It's used to everyone being in debt. I was just watching something online, and it was this company discussing how like annoyed that they were that the average American consumer now is trying to save their money. They're like, they don't understand why people aren't out spending more. Like the economy looks bad, but they were basically alluding to the fact that the average everyday person doesn't even have assets. So why would they care that the stock market is going down? They hear this news, they don't understand it. Why aren't they going out and selling and buying more? And it's like, because people want to save money, people want to have savings, people want to put money away for the future. These companies don't understand and they don't care. To them, it is literally just, we need to make as much money as humanly possible. If interest rates aren't going to go down from the United States, then we have to find some other way to basically trick people into spending more money. Also in the news are a number of layoffs. These layoffs are probably going to continue for quite some time. The idea is, even if we do get interest rate cuts and the economy ends up moving back up, we need a good half a year to a year of earning reports from these companies to be able to see if they even want to begin to start to rehire people, only if the economy actually ends up doing better, which has also been the issue that we've also been going over for the last week or so. Dell announced before, like the day of the crash, that they were going to lay off people from the company, and they officially announced that they have just fired 12,500 people, and there might be more layoffs as well within the tech sector. And also, to throw more dirt on top of all of this as well, Tesla, Google, Microsoft, Nike, and Amazon have all announced plans for layoffs as well, either this month or sometime over the course of the rest of the year. Yeah, no, we've gotten ourselves into a terrible situation, a terrible predicament. There are a number of larger banks and companies and even countries who are now basically asking the Fed cut interest rates right now, because it seems to be the only thing that's going to get us out of this. It's a really, I don't have, sorry that I don't have any soothing or calming words for you. It's just more of a, I try to bring you what's happening so you understand a little bit more, because the entire thing of not having free money anymore and the market reacting so terribly was also a shock to me. You would assume they had risen the interest rate by 5, 6, 7%. And okay, cool. Money becomes a lot more expensive then. But this shows that the entire system is completely broken. And the issue is that if there isn't a way for people to get free and or cheap or inexpensive money, the market ends up panicking. So, as it stands right now, this is the news that we currently have. I will once again reiterate, as I've done multiple other videos, just in case you missed any of the other ones over the course of the last couple of months. Save money. You don't have to buy things. You don't have to overextend. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. Make sure you have an emergency account. Make sure you are selling stuff in your house that you don't need, that you don't want. Get rid of it, put it into a savings account, have extra money somewhere as a just in case, because literally no one knows where this is going to go. The headlines that I'm reading right now are some of the craziest things in the entire world. The things that these banks are calling for, what they think is going to happen if they get more layoffs and we get more jobless claims. And the other issue is when the next session ends up coming up where we actually have the job data again. If that's even worse, people are also afraid of there being more economic downturn, and it's not even a silver lining, it's a light copper lining, is that Japan won't be raising or lowering their interest rates to kind of keep them steady, to make sure that the market also remains steady. but it's like real people are being affected by all of this, while these people basically like play games. The people who have hundreds and millions and billions of dollars don't care about everyone else. They're literally laying off people to show their shareholders that like that the company's doing okay, as opposed to being like, hey. Even crazier, last thought. My friend was just telling me, he said one of the craziest things, and I think it was Nintendo, that apparently a couple of years ago, Nintendo was having a downturn, and instead of actually like firing people in the company, I think that the CEO just took a pay cut instead. Can you imagine if we lived in a world where like Tesla, Google, Microsoft, Nike, Dell, and Amazon were like, you know what? I don't have to make $3.4 billion a year. I'm fine with just making $1 billion. Let's make sure that all these people can keep their jobs. It's frustrating. Like, I mean, frustrating is not even the word. I think it's something well beyond that. But yeah, as of right now, that's the news that we have. Anticipation is thick in the air as we all wait to see exactly what's going to happen with all of this madness, basically. Yeah. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all managing to do well. Hope you sell some stuff in your house. Hope you have emergency savings or are building that up right now. No one knows where the rest of the year is going to go. No one. No one has any clue. Everyone's kind of guesstimating at this point. But I would definitely say, you know, hold on to your horses, because I feel like we haven't seen the worst of it. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.